Considering the most recent events in some of the African countries where military personnel are taking over democratic institutions, there is a need for us to take a cue from the past, analyze the present, and of course project into the future. I'm of the opinion that whenever we have some shortfalls in the expectations from our leadership, we easily blame those who are the helm of affairs. Africa is suffering from leadership problems, but I am of the opinion of greater stance that most of the problems of Africa can be traced to bad followership. Let us take this simple analysis. Those who are leaders today had one time in the past been products of followership. And of course, the level of trainings, the level of associations they have had are being projected when they get to pilot the affairs of each state. I want us to quickly examine certain facts as far as Gabon is concerned, where just most recently the military took over the government.
C'est la libération de tout un pays. C'est vraiment c'est quelque chose que j'ai rêvé. C'est quelque chose que j'ai vu à l'Occident, qui est une réalité aujourd'hui pour nous les Gabonais.
Yes, the first fact I want to bring out here is that this president had a stroke in 2018. A stroke for that matter. We all saw how he struggled to work, how he struggled to discharge his duties as president. But for more than 5 years, this same man was protected. This same man was protected by the military brigade, those who are in charge of his safety. For God's sake, this same man had a lot of politicians surrounding his office. Yes, those are the corridor of power, those who should have spoken the truth to power. But for reasons best known to them, because they were, as at that point in time, taking advantage of his ill health and taking time to enrich themselves, they kept quiet. So one of the reasons why I feel strongly that we need to seriously examine the present situation is the fact that the military men who had taken over governance in some of these countries are not actually doing it for the good of the citizenry. If not so, the post-Gabonese president shouldn't have been in power till this moment.
Le général Oligui Nguema Brice a été désigné à l'unanimité président du comité pour la transition et la restauration des institutions.
Saint puissant nom, c'est dans le nom de notre Seigneur Sauveur Jésus que nous devons prier. Disons tous Amen.
What bothers me is the declaration of the current leader of the junta, General Olig Nguema. It makes me laugh to point out that this is someone who is a cousin to the deposed president. Aside that, he had been at the corridor of power for long. He was formerly the bodyguard of the late president, who was the father of the deposed president. He had been operating at different levels, and of course we could read all the allegations leveled against him. So truly, if those who are militarily taking over governance are so much concerned about the betterment of the lives of the citizens, are so much patriotic, doing it for the love of their country, I do not seriously consider Ngema as the rightful person that should have come into power or to be declared as the leader of the junta. Here is a man who has been part of whatever rottenness they are accusing Ali Bongo or his family to have committed. That is what I consider the bone of contention. And we can use this as a point of contact to all other African countries who have just recently suffered the same fate as Gabon, and at the same time, retrospectively looked back into military regimes in so many countries of Africa. What are the lessons that we have learned? What are the cues we can take from all those ones as they affect our present situations? And most especially, how are they going to affect the future of the generation of Africans? I am not in support of despots. Neither do I celebrate medicals at the helm of affairs. I do not in any way subscribe to the number of years that Ali Bongo has spent as a president, irrespective of whatever the constitution says, or whatever the lineage that has been established by his family, vis-a-vis the relationship with what happens in Gabon and all other African countries under the same fate right now. But I am saying that if we are going to borrow from what Ali Bongo said most recently, that we should make noise.
Tell them to make noise, For the people here have arrested me and my family. My son is somewhere, my wife is in another place, and I'm at the residence. Right now, I'm in the residence and nothing happening. Nothing is happening. I don't know what's going on. So I'm calling you to make noise, really. I'm thanking you. Thank you.
It should be the rightful noise. The noise that matters, the noise that impacts the lives of every Africans. That our leaders, before they are elected, should not be elected based on sentiments, based on ethnicity, based on religious affiliations. We should elect leaders that we can beat our chest for, so that they will represent us well. The noise we should be making right now is not because of Gabon deposed president alone. It is to save all other African countries, whether west, east, or south, from becoming victim of forceful takeover of military personnel. To me, whatever guys they could have come up with, I mean, who have taken over power with gun, whatever excuses they have given or they will be given, I am not in support. But they have done whatever they have done. It is now left for us to wait for the next 3 or whatever the number of years they have set for the transition periods, to see whether they are taking those countries back or they're actually moving them forward. In history, we have come to the realization that for where military had taken over in the past, they have done more harm than good. Is this what we expect to continue to happen in Africa? So the right set of noise right now, the right noise to be made is that leaders who are currently running democratic institutions should consider that they owe the citizens, they owe their people good governance, responsible governance, and that no man is an island of knowledge. Do the bit you have to do, leave the stage for another person to take over, such that fresh ideas can be injected into governance. That is the right noise to be made. Another right noise, another serious noise to be made, has to do with electing leadership and as good followers that we should be ready to sacrifice sentiments, bigotry, ethnicity, religious affiliations. We should be able to sacrifice all this when it comes to electing people to rule us. If you have got someone who you consider to be better than whosoever is coming from your religious affiliation, don't because of religion jettison the goodness that that person will represent. It is important we make this noise now so that we don't become victim of pretended or pretentious excuses. May I say that for those who have suffered very seriously under military regime, they will not support military taking over of governance. And those who have become victims of maladministration too, we always want to say, let's send these people packing. But let's meet at a point. Let's meet at a point of reasoning. The first fact is that Ali Bongo became what he became today because he was protected by the same military who are now taking over from him. And they kept quiet because they were making their money, because they are enriching themselves. Now they felt, let's come with an excuse and sit at the direct helm of affair. Well, good luck to whatever happens to them. We are waiting. But the noise to be made is that when it comes to election of leaders, we should be exemplary followers. So that when it comes to our turn, all that we have learned in the process will be useful for us to run a better country and in turn have a better continent of Africa. Thank you.